So I've showed this program in the past. I have it linked in the Discord resources channel if anybody ends up wanting to use it. And it's called Time Bolt. I'm pretty sure there are a few options you can use that make it free. I spent $250 on the license so that I can use the Pro plugin. But even if you don't have this plugin, I can still show you what I do, and you can sort of understand like how I cut things in a way that allows me to upload things without copyright issues or whatnot. So let's see. Time Bolt essentially does something that I already have always been doing, but just like it automates a lot of it so that I don't have to sit there and like make all these cuts for just like a long ass time. What I essentially set it to do is, let me see, I get both tracks. I have so OBS has this setting where you can have your mic audio and your desktop audio record as separate sources. And so I have it to also detect the episode as well. And it shows the output file is shorter by 6 minutes, duration 20 minutes. So I really don't need to shave up too much time because I'm gonna go through in Premiere Pro and make even more modified edits, but this kind of just breaks everything up into like sections. So I can edit it by section instead of like just having to sift through the whole thing. So it cuts out a lot of the bulk of like the stuff that I wouldn't use that would make the editing a lot more tedious. So it makes it a lot less work for me. And let me see. So there's like, and this is just for this program, it lets me adjust like how much padding, like how much do I want on each side of the detection. So I would actually probably do like 1.5 padding for this so that like it doesn't just cut to me talking. When something happens, it leaves a little bit of space, and then I can cut it if I want to. I think these settings are fine. And then if these settings, for whatever reason, aren't how I want, I can always just like re-enter the values. And then, so let me see here. If I open up Premiere, I have a different save for each type of video that I have so that, so let's see, this is for Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Manny, or this. All right, so I have a sequence specifically for Time Bolt, and I have the plugin as well. Let's see, it'll pop up. So this is the plugin that been in the big bucks. All right, let's see. So find the video of what we just watched, which is right here. Importe. And then I'm gonna turn this camera off for a sec because it lags it out, be distracting. So hit apply JSON file. Oh wait, let me check one thing though. Sometimes the way that OBS records is like, sometimes the file is weird. All right, JSON file, and it'll start to chop them all up. It's weird, when I'm doing this on my Mac, it'll like, you can see it doing all the cuts in real time. But this one, it kind of just like freezes and then like unfreezes and then it makes a few cuts. So yeah, this doesn't take too long. It just takes just like a second or two to do, especially when it's a shorter clip like this. Like, so that's the other thing too, is that like, one of the things that I've been starting to do with my content, and I suggest that anybody else do this as well, if there's heavy on the editing side, and if you're doing something like an anime reaction, it is going to be pretty heavy on the editing side because you have to make a certain amount of cuts just so that you don't get a copyright claim. It's better to not edit too much at once because like for me, like if I, and I've tried to do this, if I try to edit like an entire anime, like 5 different episodes all at once, it's like, sheesh, like that shit gets exhausting after a while, right? So that's why I've been like doing this thing where I'm like, okay, I'll edit one episode at a time. And then once a few episodes have came out, then I can make a compilation or something and I can combine multiple different edits together. So really, and this is one of the dope things about YouTube. And this is the things that I think you should also do that I recommend for someone else, is that if you're working on a video, if you're working on a project, like, I mean, we've done a lot of reactions to these different fan animations, and you've seen that, like, you know, if you're working on a project, you don't have to wait until you're done to post the final version of the video. You can post the progress, you know what I'm saying? You can document the entire thing like we're doing right now, you know what I'm saying? You can make content out of you making your content. That way it doesn't feel like you have to, and this is one of the things I love about content creation. Like if you were an actor, right? Or a movie producer or a musician and you're working on an album, right? There's so much time between the amount of work that you put in from when you actually get to see the results or you get to receive feedback and you know, that hit of like somebody's seen a fraction of what I'm working on. And with content creation, you know, I can literally just be like, and that's why I like live streaming, I can literally just show you guys what's happening in real time and then edit the video and be able to just like boom, boom. So I'm more about like getting the content out to people and allowing it to just develop over time. So this is actually, yeah, this is taking a minute. I don't know why. It's probably, you know, honestly, it's probably because I'm streaming. I usually don't stream while I do this intentionally because of the load, the potential load that it might have on my I don't feel like it'll not do it. I think it just will take a little bit longer. Let me see. I'll put in Task Manager, see what see what's going on here. Yeah, my CPU at max right now. Let me see. Let me close some apps. Like let me close Firefox. Anything that might make my computer slower or faster or whatever. So yeah, it does a little faster on the Mac. Also on the Mac version of this app, Time Bolt, it has the way that it installs makes more sense. I open up Premiere, Time Bolt extension is in there. Oh, there it goes. All the cuts, all the chops. Look at that, bro. Like, let me just tell you, if I had to do all this by myself, this would take a long ass time. Like, let's just leave it at that. I hate Chrome. Yeah, I switched over to Firefox just because I thought it would be like, and actually Firefox is a little bit less load, but whatever. I'll just hit record again. So it's not making my encoder do too much. So yeah, this is my voice. This is the episode. And then this is, so these are all linked. I have like a separate track recording. I just delete that for now. And the way that I make the edit is like this. So like, I don't even need to necessarily even think that I'm editing because I have it sort of down to a formula, right? So I don't really need to keep in a lot of the dialogue. That's not really my focus. I'm more focused on like the animation and the commentary. And then like any dialogue that gets caught in. And I feel like that's just like that's just a convenient way for just cutting it to the point. So it's like, it's not that it has to be that way, but it's like, there are rules that allow for me to like make cuts indiscriminately without having to watch. You know, it's like the saying of like, don't trade your time for money. I guess in this case, it's not for money. It's just for making the thing. But since like, it's more of just like prioritizing like efficiency over, well, I mean, and there's nothing specifically that I even need to like show. So like this idea that like, okay, like if you're thinking of like me as a content creator, it's like the content is me. It's like myself. So like I'm never gonna stop being me. So it's it's like having this abundance mindset when it comes to like my content. It's like there's no like scarcity of capturing my existence. I don't really have to feel like, oh, I have to get exact moments. Like I'm more just trying to just capture my essence in like a digestible way. So see, what I like about Time Bolt is sometimes the cuts are so quick like this. I don't even think I really have to do much to it. So I'll just kind of hold on. I just want to make sure the transitions are clean. Like I just want to make sure it doesn't like glitch out or like, okay, for this scene, there's like nothing there. So I'll just cut that. It's just like brown. So I don't need to keep that in. I basically just try to make every clip, my voice is like cracked there. I just try to make every clip a certain length and it seems to work out. So like, okay, so like for this one, so you see it switches. So I just wait for it to move and then get it to a certain length. So like, let's see, where there's like not too much going on. So okay, there. And like for some episodes, like, okay, for Chainsaw Man, I'm like, oh, this is a popular anime. So I'll just keep it as much as possible. Like for some stuff, if I'm doing like a less mainstream anime, I'll just be like, okay, I'll just keep in whatever I get. Once I kind of explain that, it becomes pretty obvious like what I'm looking for. But yeah, I try to edit visually, you know, I don't try to edit based off of like what's being said, right? And like if you're trying to like, oh, capture a specific thing, then you would want it to be like, you would want to pay more attention to the voices. But like I said, I'm not trying to necessarily like that. That's kind of like generous. This is kind of long. So what I'll probably actually do is I'll try to do this. So if I'm doing a video where there's like a lot of like talking, well, so that's why what I like about Time Bolt, between Time Bolt, I'm like more about, I want it to look like a certain way visually over necessarily looking a certain way or sounding a certain way. I mean, well, so, and this is also why the nature in which I talk is like, I try to space out what I'm gonna say. So like, and this is another thing too that like I think people don't really even think about. Like, so even though it is live, I do have a certain level of self-awareness. Like I'm not saying that just like, oh, I'm not even gonna take it into account that I have to edit this later. Like you don't want to start saying shit in a way that it's like, okay, this is gonna be hard to edit because I'm stumbling over my words, right? But like this isn't even just like advice that works for editing and just like, I think this is just how you should be. This is how you should talk anyways, instead of trying to talk really fast or trying to like say too much all at once. And like this is somebody who does that. Like I have a habit of doing that, but like this idea of being able to slow down and think about what you're going to say and make sure that you actually know what you're going to say and be able to say it clearly before you talk. You know, this is something that I saw. It was like a controversial video where people were saying that you don't have I think it was Steve Harvey. It's like, you don't have a stuttering problem. You don't have a stuttering problem. You just have anxiety. And people were like, what? No, stuttering is a real problem. You can't just fix it with changing your mindset. And look, I don't stutter. So, I mean, I don't have like a problem where I have to talk. So I don't know how different that is for a normal person. But yeah, like if you find yourself not speaking in a confident way or not speaking comfortably and you have to, you know, it's probably because you're not comfortable in a situation. So you're trying to fill in the gaps of time by just talking really fast. But when you talk too fast, unless you just like, and this is what they call wit, if you just know how to talk and be witty and snappy in the situation, but even if you can do that, that also doesn't necessarily mean you have to either, right? But just being able to like be calm in a situation and not be afraid of silence and to sort of just think about what you have to say. And then, you know, once you sat there for a while and you really work out what you have to say, you make sure that every time you speak, it sounds smooth, you know? That's just a tip that I think, honestly, not just for y'all in making content, if you want to make content, but just like for a lot of you guys in how you move just in real life. I think this is just good advice. It's just like when somebody asks you a question, don't feel like you have to answer right away. Like you can sit there and pause, and then you're pausing, and then that makes the other person, after waiting for you to respond, they're like, because the person waiting for you to respond is kind of like, you know, now they're thinking, is he going to respond? Should I wait longer or should I interrupt? You know, but now you're putting the ball in their court of like, now they're being subconscious, right? So it's like this idea of claiming silence, taking ownership of silence, and then claiming that power. You competing, and this I think works when just interacting with anybody. If you're trying to entitle a certain amount of respect, right? In this idea of like the other person is competing for your attention, not the other way around. So if it's silent, then it's like, you're boring me, entertain me. You know what I'm saying? But like in that same way, I'm still also thinking about what I'm going to say as well. But if the other person wants to fill that void up with more speech as I still come to my thought, that's on them. And that just, once again, just gives me even more time to respond. But yeah, like just do whatever you have to. I say the best advice, honestly, is do whatever you have to do in any given environment to make yourself comfortable, to make yourself confident. And so like before you even fix yourself to do anything. But anyway, get this edited. So yeah, when I'm another thing too is when I'm, well, like I said, for Chainsaw Man, I might just keep in more, but I don't even necessarily be trying to keep in like the exposition. Like when I'm doing Blue Lock, I wouldn't even do this. But I think it also helps that with Crunchyroll, I can move the subtitles above me so I can show what's being said regardless of what scene I'm on.